Hi guys, this is Emnel and we are back playing Stellaris. So last few episodes I've been rushing through it, really. Since, well, there hasn't been much of an action. We've been just dealing with the situation that developed and try to gear for war. We are, in the midst of that gearing up, but let's talk how the situation actually looks at the moment. So, you probably remember that we've been subjects of a galactic Han-Mur Empire for a while now, and, well, it hasn't been all that bad, since we were, thanks to that, able to focus on our economy not risking any devastating wars, and that paid off pretty well. I'd say that being 64 years into the game, having such income and fully developed worlds, so many fully developed worlds is a good thing. Actually, if we take a look at our contacts, sort them by relative power, you'll see that, well, we are indeed equivalent, almost equivalent to our current overlords, with us having 11 planets and 93 pops. And today, there are 133 pops, but, well, 31 pops. But, well, if you add the fact that we can outsmart the AI, it looks pretty nice. Those guys, on the other hand, are a bigger issue. They have more than twice our population, even though it is split between two races. It's still a hell of an issue, and we will have to fight them basically at the same time. We'll have to figure out what exactly do we want. Do we want to do, and what is the good way to go about it? Here we can at least take a look and see what exactly do they have and what are they using. They started building battleships, as you can see, and interesting, small weapons battleships. Yeah, well, and with bomber wings of all things. Well, not the greatest things, but one of the important things is the fact that they do have a lot of corvettes. Let me see which group that was. Is it there? Because corvettes will not show up if there is enough people. Yes, so they do have a lot of corvettes, and those bloody corvettes have a lot of torpedoes, which in turn means that we have to deal with those corvettes very, very fast, or they will tear our bigger ships apart, which once again means that we'll have to invest in a lot of destroyers. Destroyers will have a problem of dying extremely quickly to everything else, and being kind of useless otherwise. So in case of a prolonged war, and that kind of war it will be, we will hopefully manage to kill off their whole fleet, wipe out all those corvettes, and they will be mostly replaced by bigger ships, which, well, it's problematic in itself. So leaving our destroyers, the ones that survive, well, fairly vulnerable. But so yeah, we need to build a lot of destroyers to combat it, both in terms of and the problem is that point defense systems that we'll need to deal with torpedoes aren't exactly working all that well. Both because destroyers and other ships equipped with them usually don't move in a way you would expect them to, and those things have a very short range. Well, secondly, we only have level 1 of those, and they have level 3 pretty tanky torpedoes, so that's another thing. And sometimes they seem to only target projectiles aimed at them and ships around them specifically, not projectiles that travel in their sphere of operation, so to speak, just to hit some targets far behind those destroyers. So there is a lot of danger associated with actually fighting enemies equipped with a lot of torpedoes. We could, of course, just go, for example, for cruisers that will be armed with such things, but that also means that, well, we would have to get some bang for our buck. We would have to invest in fighters or bombers, which is utterly pointless because we do not have any other targets for point defense for enemies, which means that they will do no damage whatsoever. So we would basically have to sell 3 medium guns for 2-point defense turrets or on our cruisers, and it's even worse of a ratio for battleships. So yeah, terrible idea. So there is that problem. And another thing is, the position of our empires. Usually, even if you are in a shitty position, enemies will try to focus on one solar system at a time. And for example, those guys will most likely try to invade Wemel here. We may try to intercept them, even if, for example, they won a battle, they sit on the orbit, but we can at least attempt to defend it by trying to intercept the transport fleets that they are sending to actually invade them, because they very rarely use them, in close cooperation. But with difficult routes from our core to the places from where they would send them, we would basically have to have our fleets deep in their territory to be able to intercept them, and we wouldn't have enough of a sensor range to even know which way they are coming, and so on and so forth. So that would be very difficult to achieve. It's even worse here, of course, and will be even worse once they get jump drives, which will allow them to jump, for example, through here to here, or just bridge that gap. So we are on the clock because AI will get jump drives, I'm afraid, before us. So we cannot just try to bunker up forever and only go to war when they start integrating us as our vassals. Okay, in the next episode, well, that's the run for now. Let's just play the game for a little bit, and that's why I just wanted to explain why I'm building so many bloody destroyers. So basically, those basic destroyers are for us to have something that does have small guns that are effective against corvettes, so they can kill them, and point defense destroyers are, well, to have point defense weapons and stop some of those torpedoes against us. So yeah, that's the way to go about it. Okay, speed this up. Alright. So we have the one guy here. We could start to venture into that arm of the galaxy. Well, this is actually our arm of the galaxy, but the back end of it. But I think I'd rather survey whatever they have here, because, well, I won't have an opportunity later, so I might as well do it now and know what's there. And go back to the main system to see if there are any significant changes in what exactly they are, building, and how exactly is the amount of forces they are gathering. Alright, and the next, have I mentioned that? That in the next episode we'll talk about our choices of ascension perks. Ministry of Culture, Happiness, nope, we don't want that. So this is like an additional, if you are benefactor of those artists, you can basically buy such thing by an event once in a while. Alright, so we have finished gene editing. This is, yes, this basically is a repetitive tag that would add additional data capacity, although I think that's, no, it's just a normal tag that's very, very expensive. Sector limit, we are of course not interested in. Cheaper war demands, we actually finished one set of those cheaper war demands, so let's see how that looks. Has it? No, so it didn't affect at all the cost of the independence war, so it's not going to be of any use to us right now. So in this case, I'm going to go for the cheapest thing, just to get a new role for things. There we go.
Construction complete. Construction complete.
Once again, there we go. We have to scour through all those planets again. Let's just do it. Oh, we got a maniacal guy. Okay, pause. Abandon terraforming equipment. Where is that? Interesting. Oh, that's... aha. So that is in our... yeah, so... I don't think I'm going to resume the process. The planet was partially terraformed. Abandoned terraforming project. Minus food, minus happiness. Hallucinogenic. Yeah. This can basically wipe out our colony and render the planet uninhabitable later on. So I think we are not going to risk it. And yeah, so what do we need to dismantle it? That's it? Alright. What else? Can we build that already? Nope, not yet. Well, we can build that. So yeah, let's grab it. Well, I will remove the frontier outpost in a bit.
System survey complete.
Oh yes, and while we can, you know, win with those guys one-on-one, we still wouldn't stand a chance to fight them, so yeah. There's a problem, we are fighting against the clock to deal with such issues as them developing jump drives and so on. But, well, they are building up their own empires too, and, well, they have twice the planets and twice the population we have, so... yeah, there are issues. Sadly, the game is quite peaceful, which is another layer of the issue. If they ended up fighting someone, that would, well, at least distract them, but sadly, only two empires that, you know, are fairly on par with one another are those two, so unless they piss off any fallen empires, it's unlikely that someone will go to war with them, and they don't seem particularly warlike themselves, so... there's that. Well, not particularly warlike, except, you know, attacking us. Perhaps in a few decades there can be an empire that in the space west that becomes powerful enough, but for now, not the case. Also, the fact that we ate the conquered population on that planet apparently made the news, and well, no one really likes us, so we can't really hope for a proper allies. That specifically includes those guys who really... Oh, okay. I was wondering where the hell he is. They have almost, well, minus 100 for that from that little genocide of ours. Really not into that. Let's check the surface here. Right, so I guess we'll start with cleaning it up. So that's supposed to be once again habitability growth time. Jesus, this is a terrible planet. Why would I go for that? Let's build a construction at the out of 10 monument, I guess, and clean that, and then we'll go for frontier clinic there. There we go. As for this, we are building frontier clinic, and we are building. We've built a frontier clinic. We are building that and cleaning those up. So that is okay. We are working on a frontier clinic right there. A bit weird, and all right. So that's probably the better way to go about it. Yeah, sounds about right. And we have upgraded this, so let's start by upgrading our frontier clinic. Where is our, what is not the mining network, the other one? Mining reprocessing plant, so processing, not reprocessing, this, and this. And then we can start upgrading our the other things around here. Alright, also it's important that we finally eventually focus on getting more physics research. Not exactly research by actual yield on our planets, because as I mentioned earlier, all that stored research that we have from all the surveying we've done is utterly pointless unless we can use it, and we can only use it at the speed of you know, our production here. So basically every point of research production that we add is worth 2. So that's something that we want to we should probably want to focus on. Okay, let's well, do not have money, right? So probably wait a few months before we start queuing up upgrades. I guess I went a little bit overboard here and there. How's the spaceport? Well, it's okay. But yeah, that part is our main focus for now, at least. So, terraforming car and terrestrial coupling technology gained. Let's see, what is that? Alright, so we basically got the terraforming, the newest terraforming tech that we had almost had access to. Okay, 3 months till we see if we have any draw. That would be nice. Alright, I never bothered to clean up those because, well, I will have to bring in a scientist first, and without actually upgrading our ships we'll suffer some losses, and I think that having bigger... I want to stockpile enough of a fleet to have more than them to check if we can simply request independence, if that's even a feature that exists, or is it for the moment just minus 50. Or that is indeed related to the fact that we aren't as powerful as them.
Research complete.
Alright, well, in this case I'll go for our habitability, which will slightly increase the speed in which we our pubs grow. Alright, we have like what 1,000, well, over 1,000, so let's take a look at it. Okay, well, we have enough things queued up here, I believe. Sort of, maybe. Okay, let's upgrade those, at least a few things here. And that physics, that's also physics, and I guess we can upgrade this one. Yeah. Well, let's try to start getting some experience, some research, as I mentioned. They want to continue moving those guys, probably. Nothing new here, not really. We have already 12 pops, so this is as upgraded as it is. And yeah, there will be new pops showing up that will... that's a really shitty upgrade level, but yeah, we need to get better physics lab, apparently. At least it is growing at reasonable speed. What's here? Once again, get this guy. Upgrade this. Well, I want to upgrade a few, at least. So this one is already upgraded. This is a decent mineral world, but sadly edicts are too expensive for now. We'll use one at Surdma later, I think, but for now it's probably a bad idea. Well, we have 2 queued up, so we might as well get one more. That was what, Vemel. This whole thing, this is a bit of a mess. Not too much to... I mean, this is that planet that we conquered. Right, let's work on it. I guess we'll get ourselves a physics lab and set this guy here, and I guess we'll upgrade this thing, and I know, more food. Might as well focus on food here, because there isn't much in terms of bonuses. We are still over 1,000. This is basically the last guy that finishes here, but we already have 3 various things. This is at 8, so we could relocate one more pop, and this way we would get an upgrade here in the next, well, outright basically. So this is of course something we want to keep upgrading, but we'll come back for that in a sec. This is better, like that, and later, after that, we will start building minerals. So let's put the guy here and simply build few mineral mines for starters. I'm still considering if I actually want to build a energy grid here, just for the sake of additional unity, but probably not. Here, I guess same thing. Let's build a few of those mineral mines, even though if they are, well, it's better in just in the close proximity anyway. So and that's enough, and later we will simply well, upgrade the whole thing. And last but not least, that's better, and we haven't upgraded that yet, so at the end we'll just put this guy here, since he will just speed up the construction a little bit, and we might as well queue up the important upgrades here. There we go.
System survey complete. Research.
I should probably get a second guy, to be honest. But oh well. This one without a fucking arrested development. But... survey system, survey system. Another thing is that we don't really have a good... We could start assisting research, but... well, considering how much of the stored research we have stockpiled, that wouldn't be a terrible idea. But... well, we do not have a second level of that, which would actually make it a very good idea. And also, if we look at our yields, we don't really have such a powerful research world. Like, most of our research is at this point actually off-world, and well, we cannot really affect that. Which also is kind of shitty, considering that we've went for research bonuses heavily in our species. That's probably not the greatest way to go about it. We're of course going to go for sentient AI, research speed. It's not really a dangerous technology, don't let them fool you. Well, another thing that we kind of want is this. Pathogen generator, not really. Well, frankly, we want all of that. But I think sentient AI is something we must go for. Do we have a computer guy right now? We don't. It would be nice, because that would, you know, give us a higher chance of actually achieving, finding those things, you know, the other thing here. But, well, it seems like we are getting a bit luckier with the choices we are getting for research. Alright, so there's a lot of clicking and a lot of, you know, talking about basic stuff, but, well, that was this episode. Hopefully the next one will be more interesting, although there is a rant about Ascension perks coming up as well. So, till then, see you in the next episode.